You're listening to She's the Business podcast.
In a world full of fake content, authenticity is gold. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about how you can use AI with your marketing to improve your marketing and your customer experience without losing your authenticity. So stay tuned, it's coming right up.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and over the last 25 years in marketing and business, I've helped many brands to launch, scale, and grow, with some of them becoming multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm here to inspire you to get out of your own way and create a profitable, fulfilling business while living the lifestyle you really desire, without all the hustle. So I bring you She's the Business podcast, a unique blend of strategies, tactics, mindset, health, and spirituality, literally everything you need to be the successful leader of your dream business. Made by women, for women, this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration.
Hello and welcome back. So at a recent business event I was at, we had a huge conversation around authenticity and what it really means. How can you make sure that you're being more authentic in your marketing? Because, wow, the world that we're living in, the fakeness is exploding. Like, you only have to go onto TikTok, onto Instagram, YouTube, wherever, you're going to see so much content that has been generated by AI, fake videos, fake captions, writing, there's articles. People are even using AI to basically write them a book and have very little to no input themselves. You could literally ask it, write me chapters on these topics, and not have to actually generate the thought, the ideas yourself. Now, just because you can do something, doesn't mean you should. And that's a rule I've lived by for a very, very long period of time, because there always are more things that you could do, right? I mean, when you take that very literally, there are many things you could go and do right now, and you would know straight away that so many of them are not right. They wouldn't be the right thing to do. Maybe some of them are illegal. There's many illegal things. You can do it. Doesn't mean you should. Definitely not when they're illegal. So what does authenticity mean? Why should we be really wary of this? And why do we need to have the conversation around using AI in your marketing? Well, I think that what I'm seeing is people going, there's a great tool, right? So AI has become our new favorite tool, our business buddy. I hear people saying they're using it for so many different things. And it can be really tempting to just go, fantastic, I'm just going to get it to do all that work for me, and I don't need to do any of it anymore. And this is where I think we need to have a think about it, because you're not going to stop people doing that. Literally, somebody could come along with zero experience, no knowledge, no lived expertise at all in your area, start using AI to generate content. And you might be afraid of that. Maybe you're even seeing that happen already and thinking, well, people aren't going to know that they don't have the skills and experience, because suddenly all this content's just being produced for them and they're putting it out there. Well, here's what's really curious. People do actually know when something isn't real and it's not being developed by a real person. And this is to do with a really invisible thing called energy. So when you create something yourself from your own knowledge and, it's your words coming out, it has a certain energetic signature to it. And they've actually done studies on, so this is so interesting, where they looked at somebody or analyzed them with a brain, they analyzed their brain and the frequency and the activity that was going on. So when somebody looked at a piece of original artwork versus they looked at a very good copy, like it's a copy, but it wasn't the original artist. And there was a real difference in the activity in the brain. The person looking at the composition by the original artist it had a much, much higher engagement in terms of their brain activity and the energy that was happening within that person when they were looking at the original art versus looking at the copy. They've done some other experiments that I've heard about recently where they've actually measured the energetic frequency that people are feeling when they are exposed to certain things. So they've basically scientifically found what is the frequency that's happening, the energetic frequency or vibration when they're experiencing different emotions or present to different emotions. And what they discovered was that authenticity, when they're seeing something that is very real or engaging with something real, is 4,000 times more powerful in terms of the energetic force than love. Now, you would have thought love is the most powerful energy on earth, right? And I was shocked to hear that as a statistic. I'm like, wow, that is incredible. But it just goes to show you how important it is to be really real. We are craving a real human connection. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be all these things. It just needs to be real. Now, you might say, but are you saying just don't use AI and go back to the old way and write all your content yourself? Partly yes, partly no. So there are some really clever ways that you can use AI to speed up the time that it takes you to create the content and make it really good and make the experience for your clients really great as well, but still retain that authenticity, retain your energetic signature as the original creator of the piece. So today I thought I'd share with you some of the ways that I use AI and that I've been seeing others use it that are really, really effective without losing any of this authenticity. So pardon my croaky voice today because I recently got off a long haul flight, and as you know, you're in the aircon for so many hours, and my goodness, it does dry up your airways to such a degree. But let me get back to it. So the first way that I use AI that I find so useful and a massive, massive time saver is to create content using my original existing content. So what I mean by that is I ask my AI, my assistant, to generate content from my own original piece. So whether my original piece is a podcast episode, as I'm creating right now, I'm speaking from, this is original content that's coming out of my brain, that's coming out of my heart right now. There's no script here. I'm just speaking. So if I take this transcript and I put it into my AI and I say, hey, I'd like to use my words, and I'd like to have an article, I would like an email, I'd like some social media posts. You can get creative with this. How do you want to use your content? But you can use your AI to redevelop your own content into other forms of it and take those and publish them. Now, that is obviously going to save you lots of time and it allows you to expand the content that you're creating into far more places. Now, I don't ever just take what it writes and post it. I always recommend, it's a great draft, even though they're using my own words to begin with, even though I've trained it to know what my voice is and how to generate content that sounds exactly like me. I'm always feeding it with my own content first to say, here's what I'm saying. Let's now produce that as a different format. And you can be really specific and say, please don't change my words. Like, use my actual words. Don't embellish it. Don't go and create from any external sources. And I do that because I don't want it to be going out there to the internet, taking other people's content, merging it in with my own. And all of a sudden, mine has got far less impact because it's not fully my own anymore. It's now some mishmash of what's out there on the internet. So I create from my own content and I take the draft that it gives me and I always will go through and edit it. I'll edit to make sure that it's, the right words, we've got the right meaning there, that this is exactly what I want to say. It really doesn't take long, especially because you're thinking, wow, how many pieces is this creating from just one original piece? The next thing that I think is really awesome, and I've been playing around with this recently, is creating a bot that can help your clients. So you can actually use AI to help you improve the customer experience for your clients in certain ways. So to give you an example of this, something that my clients have often found hard to do, and therefore it takes a bit of time and they don't always want to do it to the level that I think they really need to, is creating their client avatar, their ideal client avatar. And, I have a number of questions that we deep dive into so that they can really understand this person, who they are and all their motivations, why they're going to buy, and then producing that client avatar profile. It's a very psychometric profile that's really understanding this person as a fully emotional being with their fears, what they're afraid of, the doubts that they have, the desires they have, what might be the reasons that are causing them to take action or not to take action. So it's a very rich profile that you get at the end. And, it can be challenging, especially if somebody's not used to doing this. So I created a bot recently where I programmed this bot so that any of my clients can use it to create their own client avatar. And it's not going to use anyone else's content. It literally just takes their own answers. And then I've got a whole lot of prompts in the background that are helping it to produce a really great detailed client avatar profile for my clients then to use as okay, now I want to get into the headspace of my ideal client. They can pull it out, they can read it, they can kind of really get into the feel of who this person is and the place that they're in right now, so that they can speak to them on their level, so they can really reach out and connect through their content. So that has sped up the process no end. But as you can tell, they still have to answer the questions in the first place. So there is unique content going in from my client who understands their client. They answer the questions that I've provided, and then my bot takes those responses and turns it into a really great client avatar profile, giving them more insights and things to think about and questions to ask, so that they can, look at what are the key things that I should be talking about in order to help this person shift their perspective, or in order to help them be ready to buy the offer. So that's what my bot does. So cool, heaps of fun. And that's inside my Business Jam program, actually. And I did share it in the challenge as well, the niche buster challenge. So if you ever do that challenge, if you're like, well, I need to get really clear on my niche, it is in there as well. And, I had some awesome feedback from those people who've been through and tried it out, because, that always was a bit of a sticking point. I understand I need it, but there's a bit of work involved in developing a good profile. And you're always wondering, have I really done this right? Now that's sped up through the use of this bot. So that's number 2, a really awesome way that you can add to the service that you're providing your clients. Another one that I love and have been using as well is using AI to help me create calculators for my clients to use. So here I'm talking like a specific type of calculator that they, traditionally I might have given them what the calculations are and they'd have to go away and do those themselves. Now they can just punch the few numbers in. So for example, I have a calculator that helps you figure out your sales funnel, like how many people do you actually need to reach in order to generate the right amount of leads that will generate the right amount of clients. So just with a couple of really simple numbers, we can generate that whole stack of targets for them, so that they can figure out, well, what sort of activities do I need to be doing in order to reach those numbers? And this is going to be different for everyone, because it is very dependent on what your offer is and what your revenue goals and targets are. How many clients you either want or could even serve at any one point in time. So that is really fun. I love this calculator. It's one of my favorite ones because it gives you all your numbers just on one page. And then the fourth one that I think is super clever and is saving so many people a lot of time, both you yourself as a business owner and also your prospects, is having an AI chatbot on sales pages. So where I think AI is really handy and can be used so effectively is where people know they're engaging with AI, right? And I'm sure that you've experienced this as well. There's lots of software platforms now that their initial help is an AI chatbot. And of course, the value of the information you get out of it depends on how well they've trained it. So you can have a think about this, and especially if you're going to use it in one specific area, such as a sales page, think about, well, what might be the main questions that someone has when they get to this point? And training your AI bot on how to answer those questions can be something that is therefore increasing conversion. So we're seeing with those who are implementing this an increase in conversions from that page simply because people are able to get their questions answered. And then, there is an option if their question still isn't answered. It's like, well, would you like to speak to a human? And then that person might say yes, and they can book a call. So it's going to reduce the amount of calls that you're fielding because people can get their questions answered. They can get them answered immediately. Like, I'm on the page right now, I've got questions, bang, bang, bang. And the AI chatbot can answer them for you, which is fantastic. And you don't have to pretend that it's a real person. Like, everybody is quite okay with it being AI because we are, we want to know the answer immediately. We don't want to post a question, have an answer come back, tomorrow or some other time. Being able to have that real-time response, so powerful and effective. That is my top 4. I know that there are many more. We can probably have another whole conversation on AI another time, and I know that we will because it's exploding. It definitely is coming into so many different areas of our business. But I just thought today, why not share what I'm seeing that's working really well and can actually help you to connect with more people, to serve more people, and to welcome more people into your world, because it's not going to reduce or remove your authenticity at all. It actually helps to increase it, increase your visibility, increase your reach, and increase grow that experience. I think we often don't understand the real value of the customer experience and the experience that they're having when they're engaging with you. And here are 4 really great examples. I mean, definitely the last 3 are all engagement-based things. And the top one, the first one, as you remember, was creating the content from your existing content. That's just meaning that you're able to be reaching more people from less of your time invested because you create your original piece once and then adapt it. So thank you for that. And we will be checking in again with you. There'll be another episode going live next week. So have a look out for that one. Actually, in the show notes, I will pop a link across to the niche challenge. If you are somebody who hasn't, you're not in your ideal niche, or you have questions about it, you're like, oh, am I really in the right niche or not? If you have any doubt in your positioning in the market, then the Niche Buster Challenge is what's going to help you out. It's just over 7 days and actually take you through the exact same process that we use inside Business Jam and that I use with my one-to-one clients as well. And you're getting it in a 7-day sort of challenge format, which is really cool. It's worth thousands and thousands. If I was going to sell it as a fully fledged course, then it would be in the thousands. But this challenge is a very low ticket price because I thought, let's make it easy for you to get that first step done, which is getting super clear on your expert zone within your niche. So that's where it's your specific, your clear expertise where you can stand in your, what I call your personal power. Like, what are you here to do? What is it that you're really here to serve people with? Not just what will they buy, but what are you here to serve people with? What is your special gift that's something unique that you bring? And that is what your expert zone is. So if you don't know that yet, if you're not at that level, then that's exactly what the challenge is going to help you with. And you'll find it in the show notes. So until next week, talk to you soon. Bye.